Thank you for tuning in to the Catch a Lift Fund's Coach's Corner podcast. We hope you enjoy today's episode and will consider supporting the Catch a Lift Fund and the veterans we serve. Visit our website for more information about our programs at catchaliftfund.org. If you are experiencing a mental health crisis or suicidal thoughts, please call 988 or the Veterans Crisis Line 988, followed immediately by the number 1. The views and opinions expressed during the Coach's Corner podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the Catch a Lift Fund. The Catch a Lift Fund does not verify or warrant the truth or accuracy of statements made during the podcast, and statements therein are not to be construed as an official policy or position of the Catch a Lift Fund. This podcast is provided for informational purposes only, and nothing herein should be construed as health, medical, or other professional advice. The Coach's Corner is a place for veterans to connect, heal, and share their stories. I'm Melissa Leuck, the host of the Coach's Corner podcast. I am a U.S. Army Iraq War veteran, coach, and program director for the Catch a Lift Fund. The Coach's Corner is sponsored by ID Technologies. Welcome to this week's episode of the Coach's Corner. We're so excited to welcome Austin Owens to the podcast this week. Austin is a U.S. Army veteran, Cal veteran athlete, and Ohio's strongest man, 220 and under. Welcome to this week's episode of the Coach's Corner. Austin, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited to have you on the show today. We've got a ton of stuff to cover that's going to be a lot of fun. Let's jump right into it. Austin, you came from a military family. Did you always plan to join?
No, actually not really. I was like a punk kid growing up and stuff like that. But actually just recently when I came back to Ohio, I had a conversation with an old friend. He's like, I always knew you were going to do that. He's like, you were playing competitive in like paintball and airsoft. Like you're always doing something like that in the woods. So I guess I never really reflected on that, but he brought that to my attention.
What do you think it was that made you take that jump into the military?
I don't know. I guess I just kind of wanted something, I guess, a little more meaningful. I always knew it wasn't really like the 9-to-5 kind of college kind of guy. It's never, but yeah. So I wanted something a little more.
What was it about the Army that made you enlist?
My uncle was in the Army, and he was like, just go Army and get airborne. Make sure you get airborne. I'm like, all right. I didn't know what that was. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I'll ask for airborne. That's what I did.
What was your MOS, Austin?
I was 11 Bravo, Infantryman.
What do you remember most about training up as a young infantryman?
I mean, they're all good memories, even the crazy ones. Just the good people. I mean, like, nothing beats the people you meet. Nothing at all.
Yeah. Did you end up going on to airborne school?
Yeah, right after basic training. Yeah, I went to airborne school.
What was airborne like?
It was fun. I don't know. I liked it. I just say, like, you don't actually jump out of an airplane. You kind of get sucked out. You just like put your foot out the door and it rips you out. But yeah, we actually, one of my buddies, he was a Marine at the time, going through get his gold wings. We would jump out the same opposite sides. Like, we'd come towards like this, and we'd slip right like every time, like. And then like one time we didn't, and we ran into each other. We both had to pull reserves. Yeah, that's what you get for fucking around, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
We were absolutely okay, no problems, but we were both like scared when we got to the ground, like, ooh, let's not do that.
Oh, good night. What year was it that you enlisted, Austin?
2008 or 2009, sorry.
2009. So, we're post 9/11 then. You would go on to deploy to Afghanistan in 2011. When you enlisted in the Army, was deploying something that was kind of on your mind or something you thought you knew was going to happen in short order?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like sign for the infantry, it's just bound to happen, you know what I mean? Especially at the time.
Yeah. What was it like training up to head over to Afghanistan?
And once again, it was fine. Like, so I've been around firearms my whole life. I was shooting ARs when I was 10 years old. I just about. It was fine. I enjoyed the marksmanship and stuff like that. Obviously, the people I met was the best. It was the funnest times in the world. I mean,
yeah. What was it like getting to Afghanistan?
So yeah, it was crazy. So like we were actually doing village stability operations attached to a special operations task force with like ODA teams, third and fifth group. So like it was like anything but normal. We were part of like a direct action team, like clearing unknown spaces. We did screening operations with the Afghan commandos. That's like their SF. I don't.
Oh
That's
my
why I don't use
gosh.
applications, but we trained
Yeah.
like Afghan local police. I don't know. It was like firefights every day. Honestly, it was so normal that we'd get snacks and like in the afternoon, and we just like wait to get mortars so we could shoot back. Like it was a game to us. Like it was just our normal day, you know.
What was it like working that closely with the Afghan, like you said that, so both on the military side, the police side, what was that like?
Ah, honestly, I don't know. They like sometimes we had some commandos and ALP like they'd be policing brass in the middle of firefights just to get money for scrap metal.
Really?
Yeah,
Holy
and,
shit.
and so it's not all of them, but some were
Yeah.
really dedicated to saving their country, and that was awesome to see. And others, they did it for a paycheck. Unfortunately, it's kind of the guy shaking your hand on Tuesday shooting at you on Wednesday.
What was the terrain like where you were at in Afghanistan?
We were in Kunar Providence, so it's like far east around the Pakistan border. Very mountainous, to say the least. Very mountainous.
You would go on and you would be injured and awarded a Purple Heart. If you're willing, Austin, would you talk to us about that day of your injury?
Yeah, of course. We had like four gun trucks, like GMV style trucks. So they're like, I was a trunk monkey in the bed, kind of with my 240, and we had two in the wadi system, two kind of up top. Traversing along, got ambushed in the wadi, and all I remember is like my driver, Austin, his name's Austin, yelling RPG, and I'm sorry, the gunner yelling RPG to the driver. Driver hit the gas, and the RPG just missed the back of me, hit the back of me right in the truck, and I caught shrapnel in a bunch of places. And yeah, we had to divvy up out of there and yank out of there, and we got medevaced out.
Would you stay in country after that, Austin?
Yeah, I did. They were like, I remember like the talks in Germany and stuff like that getting brought up, and I was like, no way, I got to stay here. Like I was good enough. We had
Right.
such a small like kind of team together. You almost felt that like duty to stay. There's no question.
What was it like for you after that? After I would imagine here, and please correct me if I'm wrong, a period of, possibly shock or just kind of once the dust settled for you after this, being hit with the RPG like that, what was it like then for you in Afghanistan?
I sound crazy, but honestly, no different. It was
Yeah.
just we went along with it. It's just I said it was just the normal part of our day. So and honestly, like nobody died. I mean, it wasn't that bad of a day. Honestly, we all survived.
Yeah.
So move on.
That is a good day, right? Everyone survived. And
Yeah.
yeah. Looking back at that time in Afghanistan, what stands out to you the most?
Looking back, the funny times. Obviously, the funny times
Yeah.
always stay with me. I like to. I'll prioritize those in my brain. Yeah, we were just goofballs. We messed with everybody. That's just what we did. We messed with each other. We would literally just, yeah, we just. I can't even get into it. But yeah, we were goofballs.
Yeah. What was it like coming home from Afghanistan?
Um, Once again, because you're with everybody, it was okay. Like we were just kind of kept the party going, and in a sense, we had like a new sergeant major, and he was a little upset about how we call each other by our first names and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, he got over it. But it was fun time. Like typical anything. Come back from deployment, everybody goes to the bars every weekend and hangs out and has fun.
How would your military career kind of proceed from that point coming home from Afghanistan?
I went straight into like a med board, like you do like reverse SRP, I think it was called, reverse soldier readiness program, and yeah, the hearing test is where I got picked up. So I am like waiting to press the button the whole time, and I heard like one beep. And I was like, oh well, this. I hear like booth 2, please stay for another round. And yeah,
Yeah.
that was where I got caught. I tried to avoid it much as I could.
Yeah. What was your unit like during this time, during this med board process for you?
They were actually really cool. I remember like I think I told you the story before. I was coming home before everybody else. It was like 2 weeks before everybody else or something like that. My had a family member pass away. I'm walking through the halls, and I can't remember. It was like a platoon. It's like E7 or something like that. I can't remember who it was. But anyway, he goes, "Hey!" Like, he started picking up my shoelaces. I turned around, you're my name tag. He's like, oh, Owens, I heard about you. He put his arm around my shoulder and he welcomed me into the unit to find. So they're all really supportive. Like I would show up to the unit because I was bored, and they'd be like, Owens, go home and take a nap, man. Like go relax somewhere.
That's incredible. How do you think that kind of helped your process of, kind of med boarding out and transitioning out of the Army, having a supportive unit like that?
It was too easy. Like I said,
Yeah.
I was trying to be there more than they, were allowed to have me there.
Yeah.
I would just meet them at the gym for PT, so I wasn't allowed to do PT. Don't tell anybody.
That's hilarious. Austin, what was it like, once you finally, you are out of the Army now, what would come next for you? What was those initial kind of weeks and months like for you?
Right after, I kind of moved to Colorado, and I picked up some odd jobs like doing framing work in the mountains. They had like a wildfire burn on a bunch of houses, so picked up a job framing houses, and I honestly just like got enough support by, and I just backpacked. That was me and my dog, just backpacked all around Colorado, went to Nevada a bunch, and just kind of surrounding areas, Utah. It was amazing.
What was it about the outdoors that was so therapeutic for you during this time?
I don't honestly coming back and dealing with like civilian life, going from like telling stories to your buddies and then telling the same story as civilians, you don't get the same reaction.
No,
so
you
I think
don't.
just being by my dog never judged me, so we would just go to the wood and other like trail people are usually pretty nice. You don't really run into any assholes there. But yeah, it's just solitude.
We're going to definitely talk more about your time on the trail, but before we kind of get into that, I want to talk about your dog, Darwin. Tell us about Darwin. How did he impact your life, especially early on, coming out of the Army? When did you get him? What did that look like?
I can't even look. I can't even put it to words sometimes. But he came at the perfect time. I just got home, and there was a guy at the unit that had like a Great Dane, was like a service animal. I'm like, I just want a dog, So I went to the local pound. All the dogs are barking. And he's just sitting there, perfectly calm. I'm like, I like this guy, And we obviously checked him out, took him home, and we're like letting him off his leash and just kind of seeing what he would do at my house, and he just kind of stuck by my side, and it's been like that ever since.
That's incredible. How old was he when you got him?
I got him when he's 4, so yeah, he's like 15 now.
Oh my gosh. What kind of dog is he, Austin?
He's a Greyhound Lab mix. Like he runs like a Greyhound and swims like a Lab. That's why he's Darwin.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh, I love it. Talk to us about that life, Austin, that you lived for quite a while. Backpacking, hiking, I don't know if you'd call it a nomadic lifestyle, but very.
I think we had a home, but very nomadic. Yeah.
Yeah. So, talk to us about that. What did that look like for you, and what do you think was driving that?
Well, I mean, it started as just day hikes and backpacking trips, and I actually became very nerdy with it. I mean, I bought a scale. Everyone thought it was like a food scale, or I had to weigh my backpacking stuff, so I wanted my pack weight down, and every ounce adds it to a pound basically. And I just got really nerdy about it, and then I started pushing the trails, started pushing the gear, and I actually only hammocked. That was kind of my
really
right way. Yeah, I would hammock, and Darwin would have a thermal rest down below, and we would pitch the tarp over the whole thing. And it worked really well. It was super lightweight. That helped, especially when you're doing 30 mile days sometimes. That adds up, when food weighs a lot and water weighs a lot.
Right. Do you think just talking about that, so you've obviously got a pack on your back during this time, you're going out for a period of time on the trail with your dog, and what you have is what you're carrying at that point.
Sure.
I mean, did it remind you of being an infantryman? Like, was there a part of it that was connecting you to that, kind of grounding you back to that place?
I never thought about that until just now. Maybe. I honestly never thought about that. But I may guess so. Yeah, I've always liked the outdoors to add, but I never thought about it like that.
Talk to us about some of the trails that you've done.
Me and Darwin, the big one was the Colorado Trail from Denver to Durango. That was pretty cool. I got to do like the I can't remember what it's called exactly. The Lake Tahoe Rim Trail. I think that's the name of it. It goes around the trim of Lake Tahoe. That was another beautiful one. There's a few that I didn't get to do, and I'm really bummed. There's like a famous trail called Seven Lakes. I think it was named by John Muir himself. Oh
my gosh!
Never got to do that, but one of these days maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. What's the most memorable trail that you did?
Actually, it's a dumb trail. Like take like 3 days or something like that. But my cousin and her now husband, which is just this forever ago. They came out and they did the trail with me. They came out to Colorado just to backpack with me. They took on this gray rock trail, and I just it was so much fun having them along.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I love those two people, and still to this day I'm very close to
Oh,
them.
that's so cool. Talk to us a little bit about Austin because, and I've never been out on trails like that to that capacity in any way, shape, or form. However, I absolutely love reading about people that are out, backcountry hiking, and doing these different trails and stuff out west or like in the Appalachians, whatever it might be. And one of the things that I was fascinates me about it is when I'm reading it is the people that they encounter on the trails. What was your experience or some experiences with people that you'd encounter out on those trails?
Oh, that's such a good question. I have so many goofy stories. You can see me laughing already. Like, we all get trail names. Actually, my trail name was Rain Cloud because I was like, there'd be one cloud in the sky. I'd be like, everybody put your tarps up and like settle down, Rain Cloud. It's not gonna rain.
Oh, I love
I
it,
spent
Rain
so much
Cloud.
time in the rain, and especially done before bending. I didn't want to do. I'm not for that life. So, but yeah, oh my gosh, I there's so many. I remember one time we came across this like I guess you had to like pay to camp there. We were doing the Pemigewasset Loop up in New Hampshire, and this woman was like, "Oh, you guys can stay here, but you have to spread fertilizer for us." And I'm like, "All right, I guess we can do that." And yeah, it was like human fertilizer, if that makes sense.
Oh
That's what
my
I'm saying.
gosh.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, so like that's a weird one. I'm like, okay, and then we're allowed to
That's a
stay
weird one.
in like the camp area, I guess. It's in the middle of New Hampshire in the mountains, but whatever, we did that.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Austin, if you could take us through, like a day or couple days, like on the trail, or even like, what's in your pack, what happens that day, when are you eating, what does it look like when you stop for the night, putting up, your, where you're going to sleep, getting going on the next day. Kind of take us through that.
Sure. It obviously depends on location. Like I mean, like I said, East Coast, West Coast, a little different, but
Yeah.
because your gear changes throughout as you
Right.
get smarter. But yeah, I was pretty tracked with my meals. Like I definitely have all my breakfasts planned out. Usually do like oatmeal. It's an easy one. I used an alcohol-based stove. Would heat up the water right in my little white pot. And anything with adding water made it easy. So I do like oatmeal. Lunch, you should do like a hard cheese. The hard cheeses don't really like degrade without being in the
Right.
refrigerator. Salamis and like tortillas. Like I'd do something like that. And then my dinners were always like the mountain house meals. Like I always had
Yeah.
that. At the end of the day, it just makes life easy and it's really good and makes you happy. So that was usually my go-to snacks. This is my secret. But Jolly Ranchers on the trail, they'll make you keep going. You're
Yeah.
feeling sucking for a little bit, pop one of those in, and it'll pep you right up.
I love it. We got a pro tip there. I love it.
Yeah,
I
bro.
love it.
Yeah, bro.
What's it like hiking? Take us through that a little bit. Like what's going through your head? What kind of mentally is driving it?
So it's going through your head like nothing. I'm just out there taking everything in. That's kind of where my head isn't spinning. I'm one of those people that lays in bed and thinks about things tomorrow in 5 years. But like when I'm in the gym or backpacking and stuff, I'm very present, and it's hard for me to feel that presence like that. Um, yeah, that's kind of where I find the solitude in it. Even
Did you
with
ever
people, it can still be very
Yeah.
like mindless and just kind of in the moment.
Did you ever get bored when you were out there?
If I got bored, I would just make like primitive traps. I'd like try out my ideas or something.
Oh my gosh, that's cool. What was
I
kind
watched
of like
too much Bear Grylls back in the day.
same. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen quite a bit myself. What was kind of and I know it'd be dependent, right, on like what trail you're doing or what's going on, but what was kind of an average time that you would be out there away from civilization?
An average time would be like I don't know 4 or 5 days. I think was like a
Okay.
good trip. Like 3 days is like short. 5 days
Okay.
is pretty good. Anything like past 2 weeks, you start like you have to find places to find more food. You can't carry enough food for
Yeah.
2 weeks. It's too much. I guess you could, but your back would be so
Right.
yeah.
Talk to me about Darwin when you'd be out there hiking.
I mean, he would do double the mountains. I mean, double the miles. I mean,
I
oh my
believe
gosh,
it.
you go back and forth, back and forth. I joke though, that dog has climbed more 14ers than most people have. He's been yeah, just we do like the big thing is the 14ers, the mountains over 14,000 feet.
Yeah.
We did like I don't know 7 of them. No, not that many. maybe 4 or 5 of them.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it was a fun time. He was incredible. He carried his own backpack.
Did he? Oh my gosh.
He'd only carry his ball, his bowl, and then his trash. I wouldn't make him carry too much, but just a little bit.
I love it. He had to have his ball. That's the lab coming out there. I've had labs all my life. You got to have a ball close, right?
Oh yeah.
Was it ever difficult caring for him on the trail, or did it bring? I would imagine there had to have been some unique challenges or just uniqueness to having a dog, because it's not only you're responsible for right now out on that trail.
Well, he's an incredible dog. He was he took care of me when I took care of him. But like as far as food goes wise, I actually found this company called Turbo Pup. And it's like almost like a condensed food bar for a dog, and I would mix that with his kibble just because he had extra calories.
Right.
Carrying enough kibble for a week is, for he's a 60-pound dog, so that's a lot. So I try to find way. I use like plain tuna packets to kind of supplement his diet, where it's more lightweight and he still get those calories in.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I'm just like, man, I could just sit here and hammer you with questions all day about being out on the trail. When you were out there, did you take pictures at all? Did you journal or write at all about it?
Yeah, I took when GoPro was cool back in the day, I guess. Like the old GoPros, I had one of those, and then I would actually carry a small little notepad, and I would draw all my campsites. So I have campsites drawn.
Really?
It's a quick sketch. Yeah, look little.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and that's cool to look back on for sure.
Was safety for you ever an issue, either with other people out on the trail, or potentially weather, or what types of safety considerations were you taking when you were out there?
We did a few I guess in Colorado's kind of weird. March is like winter out there. We did a few like March trips, and it got really cold. That was probably the most dangerous thing, where the inside of my tarp was ice. I had Darwin in my hammock with me. But yeah, otherwise than that, like no, actually. I didn't pick like the normal trails. I tried to go to trails where I wouldn't find people.
Okay.
So I didn't really run into a lot of people. And like animals, like one time, this is a funny story. One time, I saw someone on the trail. They were like, "Oh yeah, be careful, mountain lions." I guess they saw them in the area not too long ago, a few hours ago. So Darwin gets his big mohawk and he's growling. And I'm like, "Oh shit, it's a mountain lion." I'm looking all around, and he walks up to a tree stump and he like sniffs it, and his mohawk goes down. I'm like, I was actually scared at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, it's a real mountain lion.
Yeah, mountain lions are no joke.
Exactly.
Oh my
Especially
gosh.
for the dog, right? I'd be scared to take him.
Yeah. Right. Yes. How many years did you kind of live this lifestyle, Austin, or what was the time frame here?
I'll say I got out in 2013, 14, 15, about 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 2.5 years or so. I moved
incredible.
to Nevada for a little while, and I
Did you?
kind of did the same thing. I lived outside of like Reno and Lake Tahoe, kind of in between there. Kind of doing the same thing, just riding dirt bikes, and kind of doing the same thing but on a dirt bike. Like drive out, go backpacking, and yeah.
What was the physicality of it like? You've talked about, the pack, trying to get that down, as light as you could, with just the essentials of what you needed. But what was the physicality of it like? Like how did the body hold up during this time? Your feet, just kind of everything.
Yeah, and I thought it would be like, I look back like, how did I do that? Like I was kind of like huskier. I wasn't as fit as I am now. For some reason, like it didn't bother me at all. I think the mentality and the mental fortitude is actually what made me maybe able to do that more so than the physicality, because I'm in much better shape now, and I can do that now. Actually, it probably put me in the ground nowadays.
Because I think most things, I could be wrong here, but just in my experience with different things I've done, or things that I would consider difficult or challenging, it's usually the mental component, right, that is carrying even the bigger brunt of it. What was the most mentally challenging or mentally draining part about this lifestyle that you were living?
Missing family. My sister would like come out on Christmas, I think like 1 or 2 of the years. Like the one day I was like videotaping my dog on Christmas, and it was just like by myself. I'm like, I kind of miss family. It was beautiful where I live, but my family lives in Ohio, so that's where I'm at.
Yeah. If there's any veterans listening, that this appeals to, that this type of lifestyle appeals to, or, like they're like me, they've watched documentaries, they've read a bunch of books and magazines on this type of stuff, what kind of advice do you have for them if someone's looking to live that lifestyle or pursue that for a period of time, or even just like a particular trail and go and pursue that?
Yeah, I mean, for your lifestyle, I think if you have, if you don't have a lot of responsibilities at the time, that's okay. I think it's awesome. I've experienced so many different kinds of people and different just cultures within different towns, and I would say go for it. Like, I think I'm gonna push my kids when they get older to go out and travel, like go make
Yeah.
mistakes and be. Yeah, and if you got the time, and yeah, I say do it. As far as going for a trail, I mean, once again, just go do it.
Yeah.
I mean, in a sense, it's just walking. You just got to
Yeah.
take your time. You don't need to have a record time. It's not a race. Enjoy the moment. It'll be a lot easier.
Yeah. If you had, because sometimes for people, the hardest thing is actually starting,
Yeah.
because you can plan stuff out forever, right? You can be the best planner in the world, but you still have to actionably take that first step. If you had to say, what's one thing that you can actionably do to take this first step to start, to go and pursue a trail, what would it be, Austin?
Pick a trail,
Yeah.
right? I mean, pick a trail. Start planning. Like you said, get the ball in motion. Pick a trail, and if it takes a little grit to get it done, then you show a little grit to get it done.
Talk to us about your life today. You live on a homestead.
Yeah.
You've got a family. Talk to us about that, if you would.
So it's me, my wife, and my two boys. We have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they're both little savages that keep me young. We'll say that. The walking jungle gym, as you see. But yeah,
Yep.
we have rabbits, chickens, and ducks. We heat our house off of only wood heat. That's like a second job in itself.
Oh my gosh, yeah, of course.
Or you have a good sized garden, about 60 by 40. Yeah, so we try to live as subsistent as possible. Maybe solar panels in the future, and I kind of go that route. And we'll see.
What made you, and we've talked about this a little bit, right? And you've obviously been an incredibly active outdoor person, your whole life, right? Going back to when you were a child, but as an adult, coming off the trail, settling down, so to speak, like what really was the push to live this lifestyle, to live as self-sustaining as you could on this homestead with your family?
It's been a goal for a long. When I was in the army, I was like, when I get out, I'm buying a piece of land, living on. And actually, I own property in Colorado.
Do
And
you?
it was completely the goal to build a crazy man shack out there and live out there. But life drew me back to Ohio, and I did a more, I don't know, less extreme lifestyle version of that.
Yeah.
So we're still on the grid, very much so. But yeah,
What's your favorite part about the life that you're living now with your family?
we can. I don't know, kind of like the sense of like when you have a plate on your table and everything came from your house. I mean, like it's just like a solid win for me. Or one
Yeah.
time, the power goes out, and I've heard people complaining about the heat. As it's
Right.
cold in Ohio, and I'm over here like, oh, I never even thought of that being an issue.
Yeah.
Wood stove never goes out as long as I keep splitting wood, of course.
What's it mean to you to have your sons, you have two boys, to grow up in this lifestyle and really living off the land, and just like that, they understand how to heat a home without power. They understand where this food is coming from that's on their plate. What does that mean to you?
Honestly, I just said this not too long ago. It's absolutely a privilege to teach the boys
Yeah.
how to be men. I mean, I want to make sure they understand like these kind of forgotten skills. I mean,
Right.
just a little bit of hard work, and I'm never gonna make them do something that I won't do myself. I will be out
Right.
there, and then they try to help me. They want to split wood with me. They want to stack it with me. I had my son out there. He helped me fell a few trees just last week.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
I mean, he didn't run a chainsaw or anything. He
Yeah.
kind of stood there and looked cute, but I love having him out there with that.
That's incredible. What's your plan kind of going forward on the homestead? Like you said, maybe solar panels or something. What else are you guys kind of looking to do? Or
So actually, we're looking to possibly move either this year or next year. We have like about 10 acres here. I'm looking for a little bit more, a little bit of a bigger house. I'm actually looking forward to a restart. I learned a lot here. I built a lot of structures and kind of figure out how I really want to do things. So I'm stoked to restart.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Talk to us a little bit here. We'll transition gears here in a minute because we've got so much to talk about on the fitness side. But I absolutely love the garden. My husband and I, both of us grew up with gardens, and everything. And since we've been married, we've always had a very large garden. And a lot of our veterans, live a similar lifestyle with that. They want to be in the dirt. They want to provide for their family in that way. Talk to us about your garden and, the food that you're growing and providing for your family.
Uh, I will admit right off the rip, my wife is the green thumb.
Is
I'm
she?
like the laborer, but that girl can grow
You need
anything.
that too.
Yeah. But we have, like, I can kind of tell you what we have. We grow a lot of, I like cucumbers a lot. It's the typical stuff: zucchinis, cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers. Um, what else? Pumpkins,
Yeah.
watermelons. We have two grape arbors. We have like
Oh,
six
very
apple
cool.
trees, a bunch of blueberry bushes and blackberry bushes and strawberries and elderberries and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
but like as far as growing it, I mean, I don't have much knowledge. Like I understand like, the basics, but she's a pro for sure.
Yeah, it's no joke to grow that stuff, right? Berries. There's so many. I know because I have berry bushes, right? Like you're fighting, pests and different stuff, and all the stuff that's vegetable wise in the garden. None of that is easy, and it is very labor intensive work, but it definitely is so rewarding. If you had to pick one thing, what is your favorite thing to grow and kind of focus on like that?
The blackberries are awesome. We actually have like a blackberry
Love
garden
blackberries.
underneath. And honestly, the only reason I like them is I eat a lot of them, and it's super easy. We don't have to do. It's exploded on its own. It's really easy to grow. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Very cool. Austin, let's talk about fitness. And like we talked about at the beginning, we're going to get into strongman specifically, but I do want to ask you how has fitness become a therapeutic outlet for you, kind of in general?
I can't even like. It's just it's kind of I need it almost. And I hate to sound like that, but just sets me straight in the morning. I mean, I'm definitely different on my off days. They actually struggle with it a little bit, but you need them. Um, I get anxious and stuff like that. But yeah, it just sets me straight. Just I don't even know. It's my tempo. I joke. That's how kind of how I say
Yeah.
it.
Talk to us a little bit about the gym that you train at.
It's called Global Fitness. It's in Warren, Ohio, and it's kind of a more general population bodybuilding gym. But me and a few of my friends, we have all the bars and kegs and sandbags and all this stuff just stashed in the aerobics room closet. And yeah, and I finally found a good training partner that is
Nice.
strongman, and doing it by yourself is it's pretty hard.
Yeah, it
So
is.
it's nice to have Dalton. He's getting strong fast.
You get pretty strong fast training strongman,
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
Yeah. Why strongman? How did you get introduced to that sport?
I just saw some guy in the gym doing like a Larson press. And it wasn't even strongman oriented. And I'm like, hey, why are you doing that? And he explained to me. And then one day he's like, hey, you should do log press with us. And it was a 200-pound log. I couldn't press 200 pounds. And so
Yeah.
I somehow get in a front rack position. He's like, press it. And I'm like, he basically pressed it for me behind me. But yeah, and then after the first meet, I was absolutely hooked. That was, oh my gosh, I was
What,
hooked.
what do you think? What was it that hooked you in it?
The first meet was by Sean Shoemaker out of BSS in Boardman, and it was just more of like a gym meet with the garage door rolls up,
Okay.
everybody's screaming, and my kids were there. My wife she's the crazy lady yelling at all my moves, which I love. I love it. She's always the loud one.
Yeah,
Just that energy was it. It made me feel accomplished again. I know it
yeah,
sounds goofy, but like when I was
I
in the
get
army,
it.
I felt accomplished, and then like
Yeah.
I had this spurt where I was like just like a hobo backpacking, and now I feel accomplished again.
What's your favorite event to train? Specific to strongman.
Log press for
Yeah.
sure. I think it separates we'll say the boys and the men for instance.
What so you know everybody, right, has a strong event or one that they really like or gravitate towards. What's your favorite way to kind of supplement your log press and keep that high, keep that at a competitive level? Because we're going to get into that. You're no average strongman, Austin. How have you kept that log press up? How do you train it? What's really accessorizing it to keep that up?
um, Obviously strong triceps. It's gonna be all the basics. There's no special secret. Strong triceps, good front rack position, and honestly, a good leg drive. If you can jerk a log, I mean, if you can gain that trust within yourself to jerk a log,
Right.
you can go pretty quickly.
I want you to touch on this a little bit more though, because jerking a log is much different than jerking a bar, right?
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
Talk about the diameter, the size of that log, and what makes it so difficult.
Yeah, I think being that front rack position, especially on a 12-inch log, I mean,
It's
you're
a monster.
so far
12-inch
back.
diameter is very big if you're not familiar with it. It's a
Yeah,
very
and
big
like
diameter.
the way easier to clean and press if you can like gain that stability, because it's a shorter press and easier to clean if you ask me. But yeah, I think getting comfortable in that front rack position. I actually did weighted front rack position, just dips
Okay.
with a barbell, and I would use my straps to kind of put in the same position. I'm talking like I put like 405 on there, something I can't even press. And
Yeah.
I would do just dips and kind of get used to that same, and I would use the same foot width and all that kind of stuff.
Austin, talk to us a little bit about. I want to get into Ohio's Strongest Man. You won that back in October of 2022. Congratulations! That's
Thank you.
freaking phenomenal, man. I was so pumped when I heard that. Um, Before we get into the competition itself, talk to us about what the training looked like leading up to it.
Um, it was pretty daunting. Our frame deadlift for reps was 700, and that's heavy for a 200-pound guy. I'm usually a
Yeah.
90 kg guy, so 198. For this competition, we didn't have enough, so I had to compete with the 220 boys. But yeah, that was my most daunting. Deadlift is not my best event.
Okay.
I'm constantly working on it right now. It's getting there. So that was my most daunting task, and a lot of box squats
Okay.
helped a lot. I figured that eccentric at the bottom. Um, yeah, there was an max axle clean and press. So I was doing a lot of axle presses, but I was learning the split jerk at the time, and I programmed it correctly to not overtrain it.
That's incredible. Leading up to the competition, how many days a week were you training?
In prep, usually 4. I'll pull, I'll press, squat, and then event like Saturday kind of
Okay.
movement stuff.
Yeah.
I usually flip flop. If say there's farmers and like a medley, the first week I'm doing farmers, second week I'm doing medley, and kind of flip flopping back on Saturdays.
What was your recovery like for this? Again, it's going to be an incredibly heavy show. You're training 4 days a week. What were you utilizing, or what were you kind of tapping into to make sure you're recovered? You can go and you can have 4 solid training days a week.
And honestly, to add to that, I was finishing up school. I just graduated
Holy
in
mackerel.
first. I was doing that with 2 kids. It was a lot, and I prioritized my sleep and my nutrition. I mean,
Okay.
well, my nutrition, strongman nutrition. I get all
Right.
the good stuff in, and then if I eat donut, who cares? But yeah, the sleep is. I mean, we have a bedtime routine, and I wake up at 5 on a normal day. Um, Sometimes when I'm training and I have clinical rotation, I was waking up at 3:30 to get it in the morning, and it very regimented. That's
Oh
what
my
it takes for
gosh.
sure.
How were you? Because again, so finishing school, I want to loop back around to that in a minute too. But you have a family, you have 2 young sons. How were you prioritizing things when you were at home, or like even mentally, right? Just to be able to do all this, study for school, spend time with your wife, your children, you know, do just regular tasks you have at home, and then training for this heavy competition coming up.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Like, honestly, my wife did amazing with the kids. I mean, obviously, I'm a very present father, but she took care of the things, especially when on clinical rotations. I was leaving at 4:30 and getting home at 6:30, and she was handling everything. You know, so that was nice. And like you said, mentally, I'm actually surprised you brought that up, because I feel like most people don't get that. Like, mentally, it was more
Mm,
taxing than physically.
yeah.
I was worrying about so much, like, because it's October too. I'm getting ready for firewood season, so
Yes.
I'm doing that while training, finishing school, being a good father and partner to my wife. It's a lot, and just day by day, minute by minute, things are timed out.
What would you say to anybody listening that, again, it doesn't matter what it is they want to pursue, but it's something extra to their life, so to speak, right? But they don't feel like they have the time. Where do you start to kind of organize that and move forward towards some of these goals?
Like before, like I think a schedule is everything, and not everybody wants to hear this, but like I said, I woke up at 3:30, make sure I got it done,
Yeah.
so I didn't miss dinner with my family. That's what I had to do. That's what I did. Of course, I complained about it to my wife, but I did it. I got it done.
That's awesome. Austin, talk to us about the Ohio Strongest Man competition. What did that weekend look like for you?
So we had a max axle clean and press. We had a the frame deadlift for reps. We had a sandbag to shoulder, which mine was 250 for
Ooh.
in a minute, and then we had farmers carries, 275 per hand. And then we had this thing called the Death Medley. It is a 55-gallon barrel drum, a sandbag, a keg, and a fire hydrant.
Oh shoot!
It was a
Nice.
good show for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that? It's October. Was that indoor or outdoor? Was the show?
It was indoors, like a big warehouse. Kind of
Okay.
like Struthers has a very like Youngstown has a very kind of gritty feel to it. So he's really trying to keep that vibe.
Yeah. Was it 2-day show?
No, just 1 day show.
Just 1 day. That's a lot of events in 1 day. Talk to us. Okay, so multiple events in 1 day. How were you taking care of yourself that day of? And again, for anybody that's never competed in something where there's an event, there's a little break, there's another event, little break. How were you handling that day, both mentally and physically?
I think everything being planned out. I also, for me personally, I think having fun. Those guys who get angry, they smash their head on the bar, like that's going to tax your CNS a lot.
Yeah.
Me and my training partner will literally be joking, laughing our butts off, go right into heavy squats. And I think that's how it needs to be a competition day. And when it's time to flip that switch for that 60 seconds, you flip that switch. But I think having fun and keeping it light, it doesn't tax you as much. But I also think that eating and drinking, being efficiently hydrated, and I eat a lot of like a trail mix, and I always bring steak bites. I just bring steak bites to all my meets. Stretching in between, keeping everything the way it should be feeling.
So I absolutely love strongman, and I've competed. And one of the unique challenges that I've ran into, at different competitions is that there's really not equipment and such to warm up before an event, right? And so, you're going from one event to the next, and it's not like you can go over here a lot of times to the shot side show and they might have like one bar and set of plates you can, warm up with, or, you know what I mean? But it's not the event stuff. How did you handle, staying warm or getting warm for a very heavy event that you're going to have to go out and do?
I coming from therapy, I guess I kind of have all those weird like rehab exercises. So I did a lot of those to kind of keep the correct muscles primed up. Actually, we were doing, my buddy laughs, we were each holding one side of the band and doing face pulls together in unison. Everybody was laughing at us. There's nothing to hook our bands to. It was a warehouse. So, stuff like that. I do as best I can. Like, I mean, obviously they give you, like, you can warm up before the event, but it's very quick based. And
Yes.
if some guy throws on 100 pounds you don't want, like, you're going to take the 100 pounds off, or you're going to warm up with that weight.
Right.
That's kind of how it goes. And that's a part of strongman, and that's something you need. If it bothers you, you need to train for.
Yeah.
There's ways to train and make that appropriate for game day. Not always, but on game day, you're ready
Right.
for it.
Do you get nervous before you compete or before you head out for an event?
I'm always nervous, especially like the day before. But it's almost like as soon as I warm up, it's like I'm just in the zone. I have so much fun with it, and it just you see the same guys here and there, and
Yeah.
develop these friendships, and it's always a fun time.
Yeah. How do you handle those nerves? Like say like a day out and stuff, before it's there yet, right? So the switch it's Friday, switch isn't gonna get switched today. How do you handle that?
I guess you can trust your training. That's all
I
you
like
really,
that. Yeah.
all you really can do. And trust me, if there was something I could do to make it better, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, trust your training and deal with the nerves, right?
Absolutely. Looking back at that day at Ohio's Strongest Man, Austin, what was the most memorable part for you?
So that frame that was supposed to be 700, for us, they misloaded it. So all the 220s zero this frame. And I tried really hard. I tried very hard to pick up this frame. And I was like, holy smokes, and they missed, it was 810. So they're like, they strip on away, you guys can try again. So I tied for that event win with 2 reps on the 700.
Oh, heck yeah.
And I'm not a good deadlifter, and there were good deadlifters there. So that was probably my proudest moment.
That's outstanding. How did it feel to win Ohio's Strongest Man, Austin?
It was cool. It was my first open win. I got second place like the last 2 contests. So it was nice to finally win. And it was like a good group of guys. It wasn't like 3 guys in the class. We had like I think 9 or something like that. It was a decent sized group.
That is. Thank you for talking to us about that, Austin, and congratulations. That's just absolutely tremendous. Talk to us a little bit, if you would, about your degree and school and everything.
So I just graduated in December with a PTA certification. So it was cool. Like we got to do all our clinical rotations. I was in the hospital. I was in like a smaller outpatient clinic, and then my last one was at an athletics facility called the Spire Academy up in Geneva, Ohio, and that was phenomenal. We had athletes from literally all over the world. We had a guy from Sudan. He was 7 foot
Really?
2. Yeah, it was
Oh,
like having a split squat. I literally could have like walked underneath his legs. He was
oh
so
my
tall.
gosh.
Yeah, so that was incredible for me. That was like I loved it. You know, training the
Yeah.
athletes was so much fun.
Why did you pursue that degree?
Because like I said, I got injured. I got injured pretty bad, and I went through occupational therapy and physical therapy for like 8 months straight, and like I had horrible therapy. And this is in the army, so like I understand,
Yeah.
but it was horrible therapist. And I just yeah, kind of I read a lot on my own. I researched the stuff a lot. So let's go to school. When COVID hit, I made a quick pivot and I went back to school.
That's very cool. Congratulations on that. That's so dang cool, Austin. We talked a little bit about what the goals are, on the homestead and kind of that side of things. What are you looking to do next, either with your degree or strongman, or what are you looking out towards now?
My big goal for this year, and it's a big goal, but I'm trying to get my Arnold Classic invite. I
Heck
have
yeah.
2 shows kind of in the radar that will kind of get me there. So yeah, that's the goal. Putting a lot of eggs in one basket, but that's what else can you do?
That's awesome. Good for you, man. We're so excited to watch your journey towards the Arnold Classic, and I know that's going to be coming down the pike for you.
Yeah,
Um, That's very cool. I want to talk to you a little bit about Catch a Lift, Austin. How did you first learn about Catch a Lift? And you were a part of one of our first wellness groups, Wellness Group 3. How did you find us, and what's your experience been like at Catch
I
a Lift?
actually had a friend reference it, and like I wish I could remember his name right now. I think it's at the gym. I referenced it, and I just kind of looked it up, and I was like, "Wow, that's really cool." And, I didn't realize it was. I've seen other companies that are kind of. They say they help veterans, so like you guys actually do. You know what I'm saying? So that was very refreshing and inspiring to see. It has been nothing but good experience.
That's tremendous. What would you say to other veterans listening, Austin, that they're looking to be in a wellness journey, or they're very early into it?
Consistency and discipline will go a long way. I mean, motivation gets you, not very far. I think even on the days you don't want to go in and just get what you can get in is more important than smashing it every single day.
What would you say as far as, because you do have the PT background and everything, and, a large number of our population, they are coming in with physical injuries. And it's very easy for people to get kind of frustrated on the start of it. They're sore, just it doesn't feel like they're accomplishing a lot. What would you say to them?
Um, if you felt like you were kind of plateauing, I guess like check all the small things. I mean, nutrition is I think widely underrated, and
Yeah,
like bodybuilding, of course, it's there, but everything else, it kind of people don't really pay attention to that much.
right.
I think fueling yourself and sleeping goes so far. And I know it's not a cliche. Everybody's been saying it's kind of the new thing to say right now. But yeah, like I said, I go to bed at 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
maybe 10 o'clock at the latest. Really important.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's oftentimes right those little things that are overlooked that people might hear over and over and over again, right? It's very easy to overlook them. Touch on us, touch on for us, Austin, a little bit the importance of rest days or active recovery days.
I think, especially in strongman, at least for me, I'm about to be 33. So I can tax my CNS a lot faster. Like just because my muscles feel good doesn't mean my central nervous system is okay.
Yeah.
So I need those off days and like if I was better at actually relaxing, it'd benefit me more. But just kind of like really calming down that nervous system. You need to go in that, you have the sympathetic and parasympathetic state. You need to be able to switch over.
What's your favorite way? What's your favorite thing to do? What's your favorite activity on a rest day?
Play with my kids. And
Yeah.
if I'm not working or whatever, yeah, play with my kids. I mean, although it's not always well, like active recovery, we'll call it. But yeah, they're crazy, and I love them so much. They're awesome.
That's so cool, and yet imagine it's heavy on the active, but I love that. That's great. Austin, I have one last question for you today. What does it mean to you to be a Catch a Lift Fund veteran athlete?
I think it's awesome. Like I think it's cool to be a part of something bigger than myself.
Yeah.
I really like that, and I think what you guys are doing is awesome, and it's really inspiring. I actually put up one of the posters of you guys in my gym, and
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
yeah, I kind of been trying to tell people about it because, just like I said, there's other companies that don't always a little bit of virtue signaling going
Right.
on. And it's refreshing to see you guys helping a lot of people.
Well, Austin, we're so very thankful that you're a part of the Catch Lift family, and we're so excited to watch you going forward with all the great things that you're doing. Yourself personally, with your family, in the community. And we certainly thank you for your service and your time today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in this week for another episode highlighting one of our incredible Catch a Lift Fund members. A special thank you to Austin for sharing your story and your light with us all today. It was absolutely terrific. Don't forget to join us every Wednesday live at 1 p.m. Eastern on YouTube for a chance to win Cal Swag and to chat with your brothers and sisters. If you liked today's episode, be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and leave us a review on your favorite streaming service. Until next week, keep it real and stay Cal strong.